Well, howdy there, folks. James from Political Friar coming at you again. Today, I want to talk about kind of how we got where we got in the House. It was fun watching Jim Jordan lose that second round of voting, but it also raised a question. How is it that we got to the place where Jim Jordan was the nominee for Speaker? He is absolutely as far right as possible. He has not voted yes on any legislation. He is known just to say no, and he is going to be in charge of passing legislation somehow. That is odd. And that sort of tail wagging the dog deserves an explanation. And so, in thinking about this, I thought, well, there is an explanation, and it's structural, as most of these sorts of explanations are. So let's start with gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is the process by which every 10 years the states favorably redraw their congressional maps after the census. So, after the census, every state government has to create new congressional districts, and Democrats or Republicans, they always create districts that are favorable to them. They'll draw lines around their opposition so that all the Republicans are in one district, and so there's only one Republican Congress member from the state. Or they'll do the opposite, they'll draw lines around their own party. And so the Republicans will draw a line creating a extreme Republican district and making sure that it's safe. And it doesn't matter whether the Democrats or the Republicans are in charge, because they're trying to create safe districts. You end up with safe districts throughout the country. And those safe districts stop being decided in the general election. More or less, if you're a Democrat in the Republican safe district, you don't have to vote. You're not going to win, and vice versa. And so all of those folks, the minority party in a safe district, they're immediately not going to get their choice of candidate. And that means the general election doesn't matter. So the primary is where the fight happens. And the primary is not attended by as many people. First, the other party doesn't vote at all. And second, it's commonly not on the big election day. And so turnout's just less. And that means that the people who do turn out are the politically activated, the politically interested, frankly, the people who are listening to videos on YouTube are primary voters. And they're the ones with strong opinions, and they also tend to be the ones with the most extreme opinions. You will get far right and far left members out of these safe seats more often, because those are the folks who show up in primaries. And so now we have a way for extremists to find their way into Congress despite being really unpopular amongst the majority of their district, just because party loyalty will see them through. You've got a case of Chuck Edwards, who earned 30% of the primary vote in his seat and yet still became a congressperson, because the rest of those primary voters split. Even among his own party, 70% of the people didn't want him. He ends up in Congress with something like 4% of his Congress district actually wanting him as their first choice. And that means that you've got real extremists who are really safe politically. And we end up with Jim Jordan being the nominee for Speaker. Well, there is a bit of a solution to this. It's something that Maine and Alaska have instituted. It's called ranked choice voting. What it would do is, even in these safe seats, you would have a opportunity for each voter to choose their top three candidates. If number one candidate would earn 3 points, and number two candidate would earn 2 points, and the third choice candidate would earn 1 point, and then you'd add up all of the points and see who not got the most first place votes, but who got the most points. And that would tend towards moderation. It would mean that there would be an opportunity for that extreme left winger or right winger to get a lot of first place points, but maybe get no second or third place. And the super activated folks would also be forced to make a selection down ballot. They'd have to say, okay, well, which moderate is most tolerable? And that would, in theory, and actually there's some evidence in practice, make a more representative primary candidate for the party and the district in general. And we've seen some evidence that this works. In Maine and Alaska, that have actually instituted ranked choice voting, have the two most bipartisan congressional delegations, according to Georgetown University's Lugar Center. I think that would work elsewhere. And we're going to see. California has instituted some ranked choice voting. There's some ranked choice voting ideas that are floating out there in lots of states. I think it's a good idea. Anyway, it's just my thought. Go ahead and tell me how wrong I am down below in the comments. Please do comment, like this video, please subscribe, so that other folks will find these videos and I can keep making them. All right, thanks.